First of all, personality, the way he carries himself, and smile.
If you want your friend to hook up with someone, or if you want your friend to have a girlfriend, would you recommend them get a new hairstyle, or do you like them as it is?
We would recommend them to change their hairstyle.
Or do you want them to have better hairstyles? Do you like their hairstyles? Alright, so one of the worst self-help advice that a man could hear from a woman is just be yourself. Just be yourself. Be comfortable in who you are and everything will fall into place. Everything will be alright. This has got me into a lot more trouble than you would expect. And today's story, gentlemen, is something that is quite inspired by this whole concept of be yourself. Gentlemen, if you really want to improve, if you really want to be on your purpose, if you really want to live a happy, fulfilling life, just being by yourself or just being yourself is not enough, is not a good advice. Why and how do I say it so firmly? Well, today's story is all about that. Gentlemen, my name is Mayank Bhattacharya. This is Men's Essentials. This beautiful thing is coming out very soon, but let's roll the intro. Okay, so first thing first, this is a personal story, this is a personal topic. And I honestly think this is quite an interesting story, this is quite an interesting episode, so I thought I'll just tape it up and share it all with you. Identity, growth, self-help and transformations. Now these are some of the very common and very regular words that I often use on this channel. But gentlemen, this story is just a cementing proof of its importance. Make yourself comfortable, get some water or some snacks. This is going to get fun, this is going to get interesting. Ready, set, go. Okay, so the story starts when I'm out on a walk trying to find myself a cab because I haven't done my hair that particular day and I was on my way trying to get something for myself. This is a very high street area where I'm walking. This is a part of the city where I live in. It's Mumbai. I live in Mumbai. So this is that part of the city where I'm walking around trying to find myself a cab, going from one shop or the other, and I'm not able to find a decent cab for my messy hair. Now long behold, I'm at this 2-story fashion store. I'm at the second floor trying to find myself a cab, and then I spot her. I spot my 18-year-old classmate from my 11th and 12th standard. Now mind you, I'm seeing her after 17 or 18 years. I haven't spoken to her, I haven't really been in touch, I haven't even known much about her all my life besides the fact that she was one of my classmates when I was in my 11th and 12th standard. Surprisingly, there was something unique about her character, there was something unique about her personality which made me remember her name. So I did remember her name, I called her out, she looked back, she smiled, she waved and she kind of recognized me a lot more quicker than I would. Turns out she apparently knows that I am a YouTuber, I'm trying to make this content, I'm trying to run a few brands and all that. And there are words around in my school or rather among my schoolmates that are discussing kind of what I'm doing and where I'm at in my life. But I was curious about her story, so we started some small conversations. That was it, I was kind of done, I was not able to find my cab, so she had to go, I had to leave, and I was on my way out. Now while I was on my way out, it just clicked me, it just hit me all of a sudden that what's the point of all this social dynamics? What's the point of I learning all this communication and conversation skills if I can't put it in place and see how things can go and see where I can take this forward? So I'm on my way out. I'm actually on my way out of that shop. I stopped myself. I took a U-turn. I went back up. I went to the billing counter. She was at the billing counter and I just simply asked her out for a quick pizza or whatever that we could eat. She was down. She actually had 2 hours to kill because her transport was awaiting, so we got out of the place and we went out to a nearby shop to eat something for ourselves. Now mind you, this young lady is of my age. She's also 30 or she would probably turn 30 in a few months. So she is a lot more self-aware than most of the women you would see around in your friend circle or whatsoever, because she has also gone through her processes, she has also gone through her own metamorphosis, if I can use that word, and she was also a very shy, awkward kid in school. I remember she wasn't really much among friends and peers, but then now she was a lot more social, she was a lot more open, and there was something interesting which did intrigue me to ask her a thing or two. So we sat down, we were eating our meal, I got to know a thing or two more about her, what caused her transformation, what actually made her change and all of that. But then I had to drive the conversation to where this video is, because she did say that, Mayank, you have changed. And you have changed for good. Mayank, you have a vibe and the vibe is good. Mayank, you have an aura and the aura is good. You have a lot more charisma, you have a personality, and that's all good. I wanted to know what is this good about and why and how is she making that thought? Now, since this lady was self-aware enough to acknowledge and then tell me that you clearly have worked a lot on this, don't you? I mean, you clearly have changed yourself a lot for the good, haven't you? And I couldn't be surprised but acknowledge and accept the fact that yes, I have. Actually, I have. Had it not been for my change, had it not been for the work that I put in myself all these years of YouTube or whatever that it could be, my curiosity of googling out and trying to learn things, I wouldn't have even had the energy or the balls or the confidence to come talk to you and then eventually make this happen where we are sitting and having a fun, pleasure, free-flowing conversation. I wouldn't be even conversing with you because I would have been in my head. I would have been in my head thinking dumb things, and I would have just been a very 18-year-old man that I was when I was 17, 18 years old. So yes, intellectually, emotionally, I have worked a lot on myself. Skill-wise, personality-wise, of course, I have worked a lot on myself because she did point it out when we were upstairs and while we were sitting out and eating our meal that when you were 17 or 18, when we were in our 11th and 12th standard, you were this guy who would just not be so out there or on anyone's face. I mean, you were just this guy who would blend in and nobody would give two flying fucks about, to be honest. And she didn't mean to offend me, she just was being very honest. And I could totally agree to the fact that in my 11th and 12th standard, for the 2 years that I was in Colaba, the only thing that I focused on, the only thing that I did do in my 11th and 12th standard was I played basketball. I played a lot of basketball. I was the school captain. We went to nationals and all that. But besides that small part of my life, I was really a social nobody. I couldn't care less about my classmates. I didn't really care anything about my classmate, and that was it. My team was my family. Everyone from my school looked up to me for my basketball hustle. Everyone from other schools' players looked up to me for my basketball's hustle. That was my identity, that was my brand, and that's the only thing I did in my 11th and 12th grade. But this story she wasn't aware of, so I narrated her the same story and she got intrigued, she got bewildered, and she wanted to ask more. She paused me for a bit because when I get in the flow of conversation, I speak fast and I speak a lot. She paused me, she was like, Mayank, how do you get so clear with your communication? How do you get so clear with your conversation? Because I remember in your 11th and 12th grade, in our 11th and 12th grade, you were not this clear at communicating. Your speech wasn't this clear at conversing. How are your thoughts so much more better and aligned to your emotions than what it was in 18, 19 years of age? Well, this is where the self-help comes in. This is where my work on myself played a role. Had it not been for social dynamics and game, I wouldn't have had the balls or the confidence or the curiosity, the need, the motive to go out and improve my communication skills or even get better at it. Had it not been for you two, I wouldn't have even started communicating at the very first place. I think I've pretty much grown up on YouTube. This has been my master's and my bachelor's degree courses, and if there is anything I have learned doing this for all these years is get more clear and get more expressive with my communication. So yes, I have done this for 8 to 10 years, so that's the least I can expect from myself. The same logic, the same concept applied to everything else in my life. I was not really a guy who was into weightlifting or weight training. Had it not been for one of my pilot examinations, I wouldn't have ever seen myself joining a gym. I hated it. I hated the bloody guts of all these wannabe weightlifters who are just going there trying to pump biceps and whatnot. I thought it was very unfit. I thought it was a very wannabe way of showing off your strength because I came from a different school of thought. But then it changed and I exposed myself to it. I got to learn more about it, and my life has been totally different in terms of my physique, at least ever since then. The same could be applied to my image, my grooming, and all of it that there is. Even though I didn't have my cap on back then, but I did have some sexy heads up in my hair, and this, my friend, this is a very strong paste, a very strong wax to even take care of super sexy silky hair, not sexy, super annoying silky straight hair like mine. Now I do need to spray my hair if I want it to be like this sexy all the time. In my head, if I don't have a hair like this, I'm not very okay with it. I'm working on it. I'm trying to be a little more casual with my approach of image, but I've always taken this a lot more seriously since the time I have learnt about it. So I was just in my head. Probably I was just overthinking it and whatnot, because she pointed it out and she made it very clear. Mayank, your hair looks absolutely fine. Actually, it looks very hot. So I don't know what the fuck you're crying about. I don't know why do you need a cap for all your reasons. And I was kind of very chill after that because I figured that, yeah, maybe I'm overthinking my damn hair. But the point being, the whole idea of, sure, you change a lot. Like there was no charisma in you when you were in your 11th and 12th grade. There was no aura in you when you were in your 11th and 12th grade. Or even if it was, we could not see it. Even if it was, it would be only limited to the 4 or 5 people that you used to hang out with. So what happened? Like why? I mean, this is so interesting. This is so exciting. How did it all happen? What caused you to change? And all of that story. I shared my process. I shared my narrative. And the only conclusion that I could give her or I could give to all of you in general is don't take this dumb advice that just be yourself. You know who can be themselves and have a great time in their life? The top 1 to 5% who are raised very well from the ground zero. The top 1 to 5% whose families are sharp enough, smart enough and wise enough to treat their sons and daughters in an absolute whole-rounded way. But that, my friend, is not so common, at least in my motherland, at least in these metropolitan cities that we are living in. We do lack some sort of confidence, we do lack some sort of self-belief, we do lack a sense of style, a sense of purpose, a sense of image, a sense of fitness, a sense of everything good that there is in life. So if there is something that we all can learn and we all can take away from this story of mine is, if you are from a metropolitan city watching this video in English, hearing my words in English, then chances of you being your absolute sexy self just by being the way you are is fairly less. You know, what does a woman mean when she says, or when she obviously advises every man to just be yourself? Well, what they really mean is you just be very comfortable, you don't be a creepy fuck and you don't be very desperate for attention, you don't be a cocky motherfucker and you be a very well groomed, a very style savvy, a very cool, charismatic guy, all by being yourself without even working on it ever. What women fail to realize, most metropolitan women at least, whosoever wants these kind of men who are very charismatic and whatnot, what they fail to realize is that most men, forget the globe, I'm talking about Indian men in general, most metropolitan Indian men aren't even taught about charisma, they aren't even raised with charisma, charm and all of that in their early age. So how on earth do you expect a man to be charismatic and full of style and sex quotient when he has not been raised, when he has not been taught? Women in general are a lot more emotional, they are a lot more social creatures. This does not come so easy to us, this does not come so naturally to us. I mean, honestly, if I recommend you all a hair wax, you all will try it, you all will probably give it a shot, you all will work on your hair because you all are at least aware. The majority of the metropolitan, forget about the 90% of the average masses who aren't even from the metropolitan cities. Even the 90% of the metropolitan men would not even try a thing as simple as a hair wax because they feel it will probably ruin their hair, or they feel why should we, this is for the ladies. I mean, that's where the average men or the majority of my metropolitan friends are at. So how can you expect that man to have charisma, sex appeal, social dynamics, fitness, style, image, everything by himself all of a sudden? Like, no man is born with it, no man is taught about it. The ones who are, you can probably see it, but they are very rare. When a woman says she wants you to be yourself, she wants you to be confident and just be very cool in yourself, that's a skill, my friend, that you need to master. Because once you have mastered that, once you have actually worked hard and gained the requisite skills to be a confident, charismatic, stylish, well sorted off with your finances and a fit, muscular guy, then you being yourself and you just being at ease with whatever you are will be so much more attractive, will be so much more appealing. This is what the modern women of my metropolitan cities want. But what they fail to realize is the fact that most men aren't born with it. At least I wasn't born with it. I had to work 10, 12 years on it, and I'm 30, but I'm still working on it. Now, am I not a lot more content and happy these days? Fuck yes, obviously I am. I'm a lot better than where I was at even when I was 26, 27. But that does not mean that I am where I should be in my own spiritual, financial and material needs. I'm a work in progress and I'm very aware of I being a work in progress. But had I not been a work in progress altogether, I wouldn't have met this school friend of mine. I wouldn't have had the confidence to go up and ask her out again. I wouldn't be able to communicate with her the way I did. I wouldn't be able to get the stories out of her like I did. I wouldn't be able to narrate my story, and I wouldn't get to fucking hear the word that I have a lot more charisma and charm and a lot more of a positive vibe and aura now that I never did in my 11th and 12th grade. This is a feedback. This is a feedback that I can work on. This is a story that I can share. So that you, if you're unaware and if you're thinking, why should I learn all these skills? Why should I even work on myself? Then this is the story. Hope this helps. I hope this was well worth your time. I mean, all of these things are tools. Like I always say, all of these things are just tools. But when you know these tools, when you use these tools and when you use them in your favor to further improve yourself, then you become a much more improved version of yourself. You'll not change out to be a different man. You'll still be the same you are, but you will be so much more better. You'll be so much more empowered and stronger version of yourself that you couldn't think of otherwise. Now, I hope this puts a kick in your ass to go out and start doing things that you haven't done otherwise. Just like the way you should totally check out our Heads Up, Cavs Grooming's Heads Up, the day it launches and goes online. This is going to go online on our Instagram and on our website. You'll probably know about it if you're following us on Instagram. The Instagram link is in description box, instagram.com/capsgrooming, capsgrooming.com, everywhere that it could be. But this has been a very important project for me. This has been a very important lesson for me. I have learned a lot building this. I have learned a lot making this. I have learned a lot in the process of using hair products, and the goal is to probably take out all the American brands and give all the metropolitan people the one Desi brand that can outperform, not even compete, totally outperform all these European American brands that exist in my Indian market. Anyway, see you soon on the next one, gentlemen. My name is Mayank Bhattacharya. Thanks a lot for watching. In case you haven't, check out Timmy Basics, check out Boston Shoes, everything on stupendous discount. I hope the sale is now live. In case it isn't, you'll probably know. Just head over to the website and learn all about that there is. See you in the next one. Jai Hind. Take care. Bye.